was ready for change. I was ready for that.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things we learned from the Tina Turner documentary.
Because you men has been out there a long time. Now us women wants to go out there and get us some too.
That was the beginning of me taking control of my performance. I was my own boss.
My life is wonderful at the moment. I'm a happy person now, and I don't dwell on unhappiness.
For this list, we're looking at some of the revelations made in HBO's documentary Tina. Did you learn anything new about the Queen of Rock and Roll? Tell us about it in the comments. Number 10, A Legacy of Heartache. Tina Turner is an artist who has electrified the world with her incredible talent. For over 60 years, countless millions of people have fallen in love with her strength and her skill.
Tina Turner remains rock's original Jagger, a primitive force who, glittering in sequins and a gold chain miniskirt, typically assaults the stage in mid-scream with both legs pumping.
It is heartbreaking to hear Tina tell of the very different circumstances in her private life.
I have had not one love affair that was genuine and sustained itself. Not one.
The 1985 interview with journalist Kurt Loder gets honest about this subject in a way that's raw and real. The iconic singer goes on to talk about how she has struggled with her perception of her worth versus her experience with other people.
I said, what's wrong with me? I've looked in the mirror with myself stripped of makeup and without hair. Why can someone see the beauty in the woman it is that I am? Not a goddamn person that found it.
It's sometimes hard to imagine someone so successful in public suffering so much unhappiness in private. And this reminder of Tina's humanity strikes a deeply emotional chord. Number 9, Lonely Beginnings. Unfortunately, Turner's feelings of being unloved go all the way back to the beginning. Raised in a volatile home, Tina's mother Zelma had left her in the sole care of her grandparents by the time she reached adolescence.
She used to sit in the window of the kitchen when she was making dinner on Sundays and always stare out. I thought she was so pretty. I used to just watch her. One day she wasn't in that window. She was never in it again.
Tina never stopped missing her mother as the years went by. Sadly, the relationship between them wouldn't ever be fully repaired. With her own background of abuse to overcome, Zelma seems to have been incapable of giving her daughter the emotional support that she craved.
She was my mother. You know, I was trying to make her comfortable because she didn't have a husband. She was alone, but she still didn't like me.
Despite this, Tina continued to make an effort to bridge the divide between them, but it was never quite enough.
She didn't want me, she didn't want to be around me, even though she wanted my success.
It's a painful reminder that even love has limits. Number 8, What's in a Name? The name Tina Turner is an iconic one, yet it was not the singer's birth name.
So growing up, your name was?
Anna Mae.
Anna Mae
Bullock.
Still, it's not uncommon for performers to adopt stage personas. In this case, though, the change was not Tina's choice. In an act that would become part of a long pattern of controlling tactics, her husband Ike Turner was the one who decided that her early success called for a rebranding.
But when she sang, she just had it. And Ike exploited it. We had to make sure he's gonna get his this time, so he make sure that his name is on it.
The now legendary name was apparently inspired by a show called Sheena Queen of the Jungle that Ike enjoyed. He chose Tina for its close rhyme to the title character.
So he changed it, didn't even ask her, she didn't know anything about it.
The former Anna Mae Bullock went along with him. It would take years for Tina to be able to stand up for herself where Ike was concerned. Number 7, River Deep, Mountain High. Phil Spector was one of the most highly respected popular music producers of the 1960s. He quickly recognized the potential of Tina Turner, and also that certain influences in her life might be holding her back.
Spector didn't want Ike nowhere near the studio. So he paid Ike X amount of dollars to get him taken care of, so to speak, so that he wouldn't interfere with Tina.
With Ike temporarily out of the picture, Spector and Tina would get down to work on the career milestone collaboration, River Deep, Mountain High.
People started to see Tina was capable of so much more. She had wings, man.
Incredibly, while the song is now recognized as one of the greatest in rock and roll history, the initial reception was nothing short of shocking.
It just died in the United States. Died. Nobody wanted to. And you listen to this record and you think, what's the matter with this country?
Ike Turner would speculate that racial issues of the 1960s contributed to its underwhelming performance. He likely had a point, but as Kurt Loder points out, Ike probably also enjoyed the renewed control the failure allowed him. Number 6, a short-sighted label. When Tina finally broke out of Ike Turner's orbit, she had big ambitions for herself.
That was the beginning of me taking control of my performance. I was my own boss.
Determined to conquer rock and roll, she started out by making some radical changes to her music and image. Audiences went crazy for her new direction, but labels were less excited about jumping on board.
Reviews were great. Everything was going well. And then we started working to try to get a record deal. Nobody would touch Tina Turner.
Eventually, Capitol Records made the smart decision to sign her. However, in an incident that was as infuriating as it was unsurprising, a sudden leadership change almost got her dropped.
The new regime comes in. Mm-hmm. And like any new regime, they've got their own idea about what they want to do.
Right.
So I flip out, I go downstairs, and I said, hey, this is my act.
The new executives were racist, ageist, and just generally unwilling to support Tina. Luckily, she and her team were undeterred. In Europe, she would keep making the music she wanted to make and would find her talent more readily appreciated. Number 5, no love for What's Love Got to Do with It. For many people, there's one song that jumps to mind when they think of Tina Turner's music. For the singer, though, it's a career highlight she would rather forget.
It was terrible. It was awful. It was...
Turner is, at best, apathetic about her gigantic success from 1984. Even the original songwriter admits that it wasn't a great fit for her.
Very white, very pop. Nothing remotely would say Tina Turner.
It was only at the urging of her manager that she agreed to at least give it a try. And the rest, as they say, is history. Tina's strong voice on the pop track created a powerful, iconic song that she reinvented in her own image. It may not be Turner's favorite entry in her discography, but it finally helped her break through to the success she had long deserved. Number 4, Unintended Consequences. After a long journey to define her life and career on her own terms, Tina Turner had more than earned the respect of being seen as an individual artist. So she was rightfully frustrated when the conversation kept coming back around to her ancient history.
People continued to ask about Ike, even after she'd had huge solo success. They'd bring up the same old stuff over and over in every interview. We couldn't stop it.
Her famous autobiography, I, Tina, was born not from a need to tell her story, but from the hope that it would lay to rest the interest in her painful past.
I wasn't interested in telling that ridiculously embarrassing story of my life. But I felt that's one way I could get the journalists off my back.
Of course, as we all know now, that's exactly the opposite of what happened. The book and the movie it inspired, What's Love Got to Do with It, only made Tina's survivor narrative more fascinating to the public.
I don't love that it's always talked about, you see. I made a point of just putting the news out to stop the thing and so that I could go on with my life.
For better or worse, it seems like that part of her life will always define her. Number 3, survival at a cost. One thing that should be clear beyond a shadow of a doubt is that Tina Turner is a fighter. The woman doesn't know how to quit, and it's part of what makes her so extraordinary.
Because you men's been out there a long time. Now us women wants to go out there and get us some too.
What the documentary also tries to make clear, though, is that survival did not come without a price. Though she has long since moved on from her days under Ike's tyrannical control, the relationship did leave her with lasting trauma. This is a situation not made better by the constant rehashing of her darkest days by the media.
But if you're going to keep bringing it up, the brain is saying, oh, you want to remember that. That scene comes back. You're dreaming. It's the real picture is there. It's like a curse.
And yet Tina refuses to be dominated by her shadows. This quality, more than any other, makes her survivor label a fitting one.
It's been 16 years since I haven't been with Ike. And the movie and the book is bringing me back to the past of something that was really awful. My life is wonderful at the moment. I'm a happy person now, and I don't dwell on unhappiness.
Number 2, forgiveness. As if we needed another reason to admire Tina Turner, we have a lot of respect for the way she looks back at Ike now.
For a long time, I did hate Ike. I have to say that. But then after he died, I really realized that he was a sick person. He was an ill person.
While not excusing any of his abuse, she's also able to see him for the role he played in the big picture of her life. Though she would have preferred not to have lived through what she did, she has a remarkably healthy perspective in managing her relationship to her past.
Forgiving means not to hold on. You let it go, because it only hurts you. Not forgiving, you suffer, because you think about it over and over again.
This is no doubt in large part to her Buddhist beliefs. Tina has credited Buddhism for helping give her the strength to break from Ike originally. Now, later in life, it gives her the peace to come to terms with her experiences.
I had an abusive life. There's no other way to tell the story. It's a reality, it's a truth. That's what you've got. So you have to accept it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. A final bow? After more than half a century of exceptional achievements, what is left for an artist like Tina Turner to conquer?
Yeah, I should be proud of that. I am. But when do you stop being proud? I mean, how do you bow out slowly?
With her hard-won icon status, it's almost unimaginable to think of her just willingly stepping away. However, those closest to her believe that this documentary is just that, a final farewell.
And I think this documentary here and the play, this is it. It's a closure.
In this definitive retrospective on her sprawling career, we're able to see the full scope of Tina Turner's accomplishments, as well as her influence over popular culture. If this is her last public foray, then she has undeniably earned her retirement.
There's a part of her, I guess, that we've all laid claim to, we've all embraced across the world. And I hope she knows that, how beloved, how loved she is.
It's safe to say that her presence will remain long after she's left the limelight. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.